this is what people need to realize. The only reason why it's illegal is because of economics. It's because there's like 1,000 different things that marijuana would fix that pharmaceutical drugs right now are prescribed for. And it would cost the pharmaceutical companies billions and billions of dollars every year. If marijuana was made illegal, it would cost alcohol companies. When you see those commercials, like those the talking dog, the pot commercial, I wish you wouldn't smoke weed. Those are sponsored by Partnership for a Drug-Free America. Partnership for a Drug-Free America is funded by alcohol companies. I mean, it's hilarious.
Really?
Yeah, and alcohol's a drug.
Yeah.
But it's a drug that's sanctioned. And it's like, have you ever meet someone, they're like, I don't do drugs. Meanwhile, they're smoking and they have a beer in their hand. What are you doing right now, douche? You know, it's like, just because it has a label and a barcode and you can scan it doesn't mean it's a drug. It's not a drug, right?
Is there any truth to the fact that not to the fact, but way back when it was the logging industry that had actually put a halt to it?
William Randolph Hearst that put in 1935 they came out with a machine called the decorticator, and what a decorticator is, it allows you to effectively and economically effectively process hemp fiber, because before they used to use slavery, and when slavery was abolished in 1865 they had no means of effectively producing this pulp like it would be economically effective, so more people were using cotton. But the Declaration of Independence was printed on hemp. The parachute that George Bush Sr. used to parachute in World War II, that was made out of hemp. Hemp had huge industrial uses. It was just very difficult to process, and so they came out with this machine called a decorticator, and it allowed them to really effectively produce it. And then Popular Science had this cover that said hemp, the new billion-dollar product, and everyone was going to start using hemp for paper and for textiles. And William Randolph Hearst, who owned all these newspapers, and on top of that owned all these paper mills, it was going to cost him millions of dollars to convert over to hemp. So instead, he started printing stories in his paper about some new drug called marijuana. And marijuana wasn't even a slang term for cannabis. Marijuana was used to describe a type of Mexican wild tobacco, completely unrelated. So they called it marijuana, and they said, this is how they got it illegal. They said people are smoking it, and blacks and Mexicans are raping white women. So Congress outlawed this new drug, not even knowing they were outlawing hemp. They had no idea, which hemp had been in use for thousands and thousands of years. And so then they came out with all these videos, or these movies rather, like Reefer Madness and all these propaganda films, and it was all just to get people to think that there's something wrong with this one. It was totally economic. That's all it is.
So no one has ever died from pot.
I mean, I know a little bit about it. No one has died from pot in over 10,000 years of use. 400,000 people every year die directly in this country alone, directly from use of cigarettes. No one's ever died from pot, ever. But it's illegal. And you're not going to live forever, all right? You're going to live and you're going to die, and everybody is. We're all temporary beings going through this life, and, who are you to tell other people what they can and can't do? And people are like, oh, pot makes you a loser, pot makes you lazy. No, you're a loser and you're lazy. And if you smoke pot, you're a pot-smoking lazy loser. It doesn't mean pot makes you a loser. It's you, dude. Blame it on yourself. It's like alcohol doesn't make you a drunk. I drink, and then I stop drinking, and then I go get something to eat, and I hang out, and I won't drink for weeks. It's crazy. It's called moderation, and you apply it to every aspect of your life. And if you want to get addicted, you can get addicted to spanking it. You can get addicted to gambling. You can get addicted to anything. Scratch tickets, People get nutty.
True.
And people say, well, you can abuse alcohol, you can abuse pot, you can abuse cheeseburgers too. But I like cheeseburgers. It should be legal. All this stuff should be legal. We're not children. We're adults. But we got this one plant that's illegal, and it grows everywhere. And the reason why it's illegal...
Sorry.
What are you doing?
I hit a button in another thing.
You're trying to jazz up the conversation.
I'm fascinated.
Pal.
So you think we should giggle and smoke pot?
Well, I think we should have fun.
Through life.
You're not going to live forever. This is a short time that we're here for. And, all different psychedelics, not just pot, because pot is a very mild psychedelic. And if pot is a gateway, it's a gateway to other things that also are consciousness expanding, like mushrooms and LSD, or all sorts of things that are also illegal. The most dangerous drugs in this country, or the drugs that are the most illegal, rather, are all the ones who are not nearly as dangerous as the Schedule II drugs. Schedule I drugs are marijuana, mushrooms, peyote. Those are Schedule I. Those are all the ones that can't kill you. Schedule II is heroin. Schedule II is cocaine. Those are way worse for you. But the problem is opiates, you use in a bunch of different drugs like OxyContin, all these different things that pharmaceutical companies use.
Right.
You know, and there's medical grade cocaine. You know, that you can use too. They use for medical use.
Do you go to these pot rallies? These
normal.
If I get baked, I'll go anywhere. Against my better judgment, I'll show up with a big stupid Leaf T-shirt. Like, look at me.
What spice? I was reading some stuff on you. It says you use the most powerful hallucinogen known to man, DMT.
Oh, you use that?
Well, everybody uses that, really, because your brain makes it.
Yeah,
your brain makes it while you sleep. When you're in heavy REM sleep, everyone's brain produces way more than the effective dose. So what that means is, if you take the drug, like if it's chemically synthesized from a plant, and you take it, the amount you need to take is not nearly as much as your brain produces while you're in REM sleep.
Did you have a vision?
Yeah, a lot of vision. Sure. It's like what I describe it as. It's like complex geometric patterns that are made out of love. Like you go literally to another dimension.
Yeah.
And the crazy thing is that everybody does it every night while you sleep. Nobody ever thinks about why you sleep. Like what you do is when you sleep is you shut off. You shut off and you just accept it because we do it every night. But 8 hours of your day is somewhere you don't understand. You don't know about. You don't know what it is. You just go blank and then you wake up and it's over. But you're going through an intense psychedelic trip during that whole time. And the same thing as, you know, when you wake up from a dream and you can't remember it, like, oh, it's a crazy dream, and it seems so real, and then 5 minutes later, you don't even know what the hell you were talking about.
Right.
You don't remember the dream. Well, that's exactly what happens when you smoke DMT. When you take this drug, you have these insane visions, and then you could barely remember it just a few minutes later. And it's because your conscious brain is trying to protect you from this experience, because it's so mind-blowing. What it literally is, it's not scary, because it's exactly the same thing that happens to you when you die. So if there is an afterlife,
scary.
Yeah, that's scary.
there is. Well, you're gonna die. Get used to it.
No, it's
You
the
know,
way that you're
everybody's
conscious.
scared of it,
Yeah.
but it's not. It shouldn't be scary.
But Joe, here's the question: Do you lose physical control? You know, when you're on this trip.
You're not even there, man. You don't even exist.
Well, that's the scary part. I mean, you could do something
Same
stupid.
thing that happens when you go to sleep. Yeah, you can do something. You're in a couch. Just sit on a couch, smoke it, and you'll lie back.
You pass out? I mean,
Yeah, basically.
Okay.
How long does it last for? Is it
10
like
minutes.
10 minutes?
10 minutes.
Oh.
And then you're back.
I remember
But what happened? This is what happens to you when you die. I mean, this is the chemical that your brain produces, and it's produced by a part of your brain called the pineal gland, and literally, it's your third eye.
Right.
It's literally in the center of
Right
your
in the
brain,
middle, yeah.
where the third eye is, and it actually, in reptiles, it has a retina and a cornea and a lens. And they've done all these scientific studies on it. They did a bunch of clinical trials at the University of New Mexico. They did a book on it called DMT, the Spirit Molecule. And what this is literally like a portal to the afterlife. It allows you to sneak a peek over there and come back. It's mind-blowing. But the crazy
Why
thing
did
is,
this make it out the Fear Factor?
well, they've known, the crazy thing is they've known about this since like 1960. If you saw a movie and there was a substance in this movie that existed in every single ecosystem, it's in plants and it's everywhere. It's in grass. And you take Phalaris grass and you extract it and you get DMT from it. Literally. I mean, it's in more plants than it's not in. And if there was a drug that allowed you, if you smoked it, you could literally see God. Literally have a communication with pure wisdom. Wouldn't you think that everybody would have heard about that?
Yeah.
Could you think that you could keep something like that under wraps for like 40, 50 years?
See,
They have.
I go the other way on this. I've never. I'm not opposed to other people doing. I've never tried pot. I've never been drunk. I've never done any of it, just because it holds no fascination for me.
Well, that's because you've never done it.
Yeah.
If you've done it, it would be fascinating. You can't say you've never done something, so it holds no fascination. That doesn't make any sense. When you've done it, when you experience it, you're cutting back on your life's experiences. You just don't do anything that's addictive. Don't do anything that can kill you. It's real simple. This is what should be legal. All plants should be legal, because they don't make strychnine illegal. Strychnine exists in Strychnine vomosus or something like that. There's a bunch of different plants that produce strychnine, and they're legal plants. You can buy them and you can make strychnine. You know why? It's not about something that kills you. It's about something that you won't be able to absorb propaganda the way you do now. You won't be able to look at the news the way you do now. You won't be able to look at common cultural conditioning and predetermined patterns of behavior. None of that stuff will make sense.
You'll be
It's
looking
very
at it,
difficult to go through life after you've gone through that experience.
Okay.
The way I describe it, it's like any intense psychedelic experience is like pressing Control-Alt-Delete on your brain.
Yeah.
That's what it's like. It's like your
that freaks
brain
me out.
reboot. It should freak you
Yeah,
out.
it does
But
freak me
it freaks
out.
you out because you like to be in control.
Yeah.
But you're not in control, bitch. You're going to die. No one's in control. You're in control of your body for a short period of time, and you should experiment with it.
I work out at least 5 days a week. I was a U.S. national Taekwondo champion. I do jiu-jitsu 4 days a week. I lift weights at least 3 days a week on top of that. I'm constantly active. I do stand-up comedy every fucking weekend, never take time off, constantly writing material. I do Fear Factor. I was doing Fear Factor and The Man Show and jiu-jitsu, smoking weed every fucking day. Every day. It helps me. It helps me in every way. It makes me much more enthusiastic about things that I actually enjoy doing. Much more enthusiastic. So it doesn't like take away your motivation. It'll just take away your motivation to do something that fucking sucks.
But I think his question. I think his question was on the lines of one of the other false arguments that's thrown out there is the fact that you have to inhale it and smoke it.
But even if you do smoke it, I'm telling you, it doesn't hurt you.
But the fact is,
cardio's fantastic.
There are those who choose to smoke it.
Right.
But there are those there are better ways that you don't have to smoke it now.
Absolutely.
The vaporizer is a wonderful thing.
Sure.
That's not smoking it at all. That's
lollipops.
not getting in the lollipops.
Lollipops are the shit. Brownie. Those lollipops, man, that's a smooth, mellow high that lasts for hours. There's and I don't buy any of the damage on the lungs thing with the smoke. I don't buy